What's going on YouTube? So today's video, this one's going to be a little bit more of a serious video. Maybe it's going to be somewhat educational. This is not going to be a fragrance review, a smell and rate, or a top 10 of any kind. This is going to be more of a discussion type of video. I just want to put this little disclaimer out there first that this video is not meant to cause any drama, negativity, division, or anything like that. It's not directed towards anybody in the community. These are just my own opinions and views. If I mention a name, I'm going to be giving them credit, praise, and I'm not talking shit about anybody. I just want to put that out there. I swear on my mother's grave, but also my marriage. This video was inspired back in the springtime. A guy named CJ City TV did a video about decants versus bottles, and I thought it was a great video. The guy made a lot of points, and a lot of his views really reflected mine. This video was going to be done last spring, but I thought, you know what, forget it. I'm not going to do it. Until recently, I've been getting a lot more comments, and I've been coming across comments that were from 4 or 5 years ago where people have said that I review too many samples. You know, they want to see the presentation, that my channel could be so much bigger if I didn't have so many sample reviews or whatever. So CJ City TV's video was about decants versus bottles. This video is going to be that, but it's also going to be talking about finances and why I do a lot of sample or decant reviews. All opinions, again, are my own and mine alone only. Some of my opinions might intertwine with CJ City TV, and I'm going to attach his link down below because it's just a great video. So why do I talk about a lot of samples and a lot of decants? Well, as CJ City TV says, fragrances are a luxury. Not everybody is willing to spend $100, $200, or $300, hell, even $500 on a bottle of water, bottle of perfume, bottle of scented alcohol, whatever you want to call it. Some people just don't have the money. Fragrances are a luxury, okay? Yes, you do pay for what you get for the most part. I got my notes here because I really don't want to leave anything out, and some of my ideas, like some of the steps might kind of like overlap one another, and I kind of might like be all over the place. So if that's the case, please forgive me. The smaller purchases really do add up. So this channel, for the most part, is all about affordability, the cheapies, right? Jaguar fragrances are about 20 bucks, 25 at the most. So even if you were to spend $20, $5 for 5 Jaguar fragrances, that's 100 bucks. It's the smaller purchases in the long run that really do add up the most. So let's say that every single day that you get your lunch at like Subway or whatever. You don't bring your own lunch, okay? And forgive the math. Math was never really a strong point, so hopefully this video does come out all right. So let me just break out the calculator on this old ass BlackBerry. Let's say it's $10 a day, 5 days a week, 4 weeks out of the month, all right? So 10 times 5 times 4 is $200 a month. Times 12 months is going to be $2,400, okay? Hopefully that the camera can pick that up. So $2,400 really does add up quite a bit. So let's just say that it's a little bit less. Let's say it's $8 a day times 5 times 4 weeks. Okay, that's $160 a month times 12. That's going to be $1,900 and $1,920. Okay? So it's the smaller purchases that really do add up in the long run. I should know this because at one time I was buying chocolate bars every day. I would get a pop. I would get scratch tickets. At one time, this is like 15 years ago when I started my current job, I was down to negative 25 cents in my bank account. I didn't know how money management was really then back then. I still splurge a little bit, just not on fragrances, but every now and then I'll buy something nice for myself. $1,900, $1,920 a year. That's a lot of money that could be used for other things. And fragrances are a luxury. And let's talk about samples. So yeah, I talk about samples quite a bit. A lot of my videos are based off samples and decants. Samples themselves are small purchases that can really add up financially in the long run. So let's say that a sample. So samples do come in different sizes, and it also depends on the brand itself. So Ferrari and Jaguar samples will be a lot less than, let's say, a Creed or a Killian sample, okay? But let's say that I get a 2 ml sample. That's going to be between $4 and $5 on average. Then when you factor in the shipping costs and then the exchange rate, because our dollar is not doing as well as the US greenback, that's going to cost even more dollars. So when it comes to samples, I generally, for the most part, when I do buy, I kind of like buy in bulk. I'll get one Prada, I'll get a Jaguar, I'll get a Creed, I'll get an Acqua di Parma, I'll get a Trussardi, and so on. I'll have like a bit of a mix and match, or I'll get like 4 different Pradas as an example, like Luna Rossa Black, and so on, to kind of do like a future video on. With samples, they do add up because it is a small purchase. Small purchases in the long run are the ones that really do make a big dent in your pocket. Now, when it comes to reviewing samples, with samples you can get, such as this. This is Bond number 9 B9. This is itself is probably going to cost me $3 USD off FragranceNet, which I got this, or maybe $4. It's going to be a lot cheaper than a lot of these decanting sites where I get a lot of my decants from, okay? So there's going to be some discrepancies and some differences as well. But with samples, you could wear this 3-4 times and get an accurate enough review. Yes, it's not going to be the exact same thing as a bottle per se, but when it comes to the scent profile, the versatility, the seasons, it's pretty much accurate. This might last a lot less than a bottle itself, perhaps. And the price tag, all you really need is to add that price tag, but when it comes to the longevity, yes, it might be a little bit different and it might perform a little bit different. But when it comes to like the note breakdown, how it smells, the versatility, the price tag, you don't really need a bottle. Sample reviews, you could bang out more content with sample reviews. Is it the same thing as a bottle review? No, but again, if you're looking to put up more content out there, sample reviews are actually the way to go. Another reason why I don't have a ton of bottles, yeah, I really do have a ton of bottles because I have like 200 bottles in my collection at the very least. It might be 175, it might be 205, I don't know. But I have fragrances all over this place. I live in a condo, meaning I have limited space. I don't have an actual house, a townhouse, a semi-detached, a detached, whatever. I live in a condo suite. So I have samples all over the place. I have samples in this room. Like this room itself is the studio, but it's also my wife's office. In that very corner, and trust me, I would show you this place, but this room is always in disarray because a lot of the crap is mine. But my cabinet itself is disorganized. I have samples in and on the cabinet in a shoebox. I have it in both bathrooms. I also have bottles and samples in the bedroom itself. Like, even if you were to get a lot of samples, it does take up space. It does take up clutter. We are saving up for a house, so we're kind of hoping to be out of here in the next year and a half, 2 years tops. Another reason why that I don't have a lot of bottles is because even though that I don't pay the mortgage, the wife really pays the mortgage as I moved into her place when we got married. But in some ways, I do have a mortgage as well. As I cover the maintenance fees, I also cover the groceries for the most part. The wife wants to kind of pitch in for that. But as the provider, like as a male, you kind of want to provide. The wife does do financially better than I do, which I'm quite okay. Some people will say that I'm a soy boy beta cuck because I make a lot less than the wife. But I do provide in some ways. I want to provide by doing the groceries. I also have a separate storage lockers that's not part of the building. I have to go to the other side of town as I have a bunch of stuff from my own place that we sold, and we just don't have the space in this condo. Again, lack of space, clutter. And as I said, we are looking to get out of this eventually and kind of move into our own house. The average house in Toronto, the average home, like not condo or semi-detached, but the actual home costs 900,000 Canadian, give or take. It might be 910, 920, but we're just gonna say it's 900,000 Canadian in Toronto alone. The Toronto area. When you convert that to USD, that's about $680,000 USD. So real estate here is a lot more expensive than, let's say, 45 minutes away. And even then, real estate is still, yes, it's more affordable, but compared to the US, Canada spends a lot more on real estate than America does. And there are exceptions to that as well. If you live in New York, San Francisco, or some of these, or even Chicago, real estate in those metropolitan areas are outrageous. Having a large collection, in my opinion, and this is where it kind of caused a little bit of controversy in last year's video, is not a wise investment. Yeah, I love having bottles, but if I don't have the space or the money to spend, because I don't have that type of money to spend, but even if I did, I don't really would buy a lot of bottles. Having a large collection is financially, again, strong opinions coming, financially irresponsible. It's not an investment. You can't really get a return on your investment. Some people will say and argue that you can, but let's say that Ferrari Bright Neroli is discontinued and really rare and hard to come by. So this fragrance itself is like 30 bucks, but let's say it is discontinued and it's really hard to come by. Let's say it's $300. Well, for me, it's going to be exceptionally difficult to find someone who's willing to spend that $300. It's more of a niche market then, because not many people are going to want to spend $300, especially on a designer scent. Doesn't matter how good it smells, the numbers out there are going to be very low. And that money that people say it's an investment, I would rather get a return on my investment. Yeah, it's not a huge return, but a safe investment like a GIC or a bond, you're getting some kind of return back. Yet I would put that money towards my retirement, bonds, GICs, RSPs, maybe some stocks. Real estate is a much better investment as well. I want to put that money toward other things like a vacation, home improvement, maybe in my kids' education if I were to have children, which I don't, which I'm saving a lot of money there. But I'd rather spend it on something that, like an experience, that like a nice trip to like Belize, to Italy, to Alaska. That for me would be more an investment, as it's more of an experience, a memory. And yes, fragrances do add memories, but financially it's not a good investment. As well, when it comes to buying fragrances from a collector standpoint, buying something that you don't like, even just for collecting purposes, is dumb. It's foolish. It's a waste of money. My collection alone, even though I say it's about 200 fragrances, give or take, the bottles themselves, what I have will last 5 to 6, maybe even 8 lifetimes itself. I will never get through all those fragrances. So my collection is very small compared to some of the other guys out there. If I were to die tomorrow, my wife would have a very difficult time selling a lot of the fragrances. She probably couldn't even sell a quarter of the fragrances themselves, whether it's the cheapies or even like the more expensive fragrances like the Creeds, the Atkinsons, the Acqua di Parmas that I have. She would be able to make some money, but not a lot. That's why that if I were to pass away, I got 2 reviewer friends that are actually in the will. So they themselves would be able to take what they want after my wife kind of does whatever she wants with my collection. And making money. There's not a lot of money to be made as a fragrance reviewer. If you're just making it off the AdSense, there's not a lot of dough out of this, unless you're producing big numbers and views and you have a large following. For me, I don't think that you're making a lot of money unless you have like 50, 60, or even 100,000 subscribers and you're making like 3 to like 500,000 views a month. Here's a screenshot of what I made in the last 3 months alone. That's about $790 Canadian. So when you convert that, that's $598 USD. So if you were to, well, we're just gonna stick with Canadian, all right? So let's say $790 a month times 3. I'm making no more than $263 Canadian every single month with with almost 17,000 subscribers. So there's not a lot of money in it, especially for the amount of videos that I'm pumping out. I don't get a lot of money. I don't sell merchandise. I don't have affiliate links. Thinking about getting it, but I don't have it. And I also don't have a Patreon. No offense to those that sell the merch that have a Patreon, I just don't. That just does not interest me. So to those people that really think that there's a lot of money in this, there's not. If you're a bigger reviewer who's producing big numbers with a large following, then yes. However, a lot of those reviewers still have to work at their actual jobs, as they can't rely on the AdSense money, or even like the AdSense money, the merch if they sell any, the Patreon, including like whatever, like the affiliate links. There's not a lot of money in this. And when it comes to my collection, I don't take free bottles unless it's a gift from my own family or from a friend, like someone outside the fragrance community. I don't like getting free products from some of the other guys out there. Samples, yes. I'm always looking for a sample, yes. But I don't want a free bottle from any of the reviewers that are putting out their own product. No disrespect to them. Absolutely no disrespect and no shade. It's just that if I like your product, I want to financially support them. A couple of years ago, probably more so like 4 or 5 years ago, a channel named Bottom Note, Dell himself, did a video about fragrance addiction. It was a great video. I'm gonna see if I can attach that one down below as well. That video that really did rattle the bee's nest, but he made a lot of valid points. Fragrance addiction is real, just like anything else. You could be addicted to knives, to gambling, to chocolate. Hello, I can have a sweet tooth. It's hard to break that sugar habit, okay? Fragrance addiction is real. Is it better than like drugs and alcohol? Yes, but at the same time, it could still hurt you in the long run, especially if you don't have that money. There are people out there that are just addicted to buying, that have put themselves into debt. There are some people out there that are, they need to have like that next thing, that they're looking for that next high. It's like something is missing deep down. And I'm not trying to put anybody down. Hey, you know what? I have issues of my own that I'm working on. I got demons. I got some skeletons that I'm trying to improve on and kind of like to make myself a better person. So I'm not judging. But deep down, like there is that void that some of us are looking to fill when it comes to fragrance addiction. Some of us use food, such as myself. I deal with the general public, which can be extremely difficult. I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, as I had a suicide jumper back in 2008. The stress of the job. So I do use food as a way of coping, yet there are way better ways of dealing with what I deal with than food. But fragrance addiction, some people use that the way that I use food. Another reason why that I don't have the money to buy a lot of bottles is because part of what I make every single month gets donated to different charities. I don't do terribly well, but I don't do bad neither. I do all right for myself. I don't do as well as I once did because I don't work any more overtime. I did 6 days a week for 12 straight years, and I am done. I'm done with that. At that time, I did what I had to do in order to pay the mortgage and to sustain the lifestyle that I had. But now that I have dual income with my wife, I still have relatively the same lifestyle, but I've had to simplify my lifestyle as well, as I do have a mortgage in some ways. It's not technically a mortgage, but if you were to add up like what I was talking about earlier, it really kind of adds up like a mortgage. But I've always donated part of my money to different charities. Philanthropy is just part of who I am. I donate to the food bank. I donate to a number of animal causes just because I love dogs. Dogs are way better than people. I'm sorry. If you deal with the general public in the manner that I do, you just automatically think that animals are just way better than people. But I also donate to a women's shelter. And every second week, I also donate part of my time. I feed the homeless every second week with the wife. And I'm not a religious man, but this is my way of giving back to humanity. And what I donate every single month is about $250 Canadian. So if you were to convert that, and I don't have like my computer here, but that's about $175 to $200 American every single month. Then around Christmas time, I donate an extra grand, an extra $1,000 to different charities, or maybe I'll donate a few extra bucks to the charities that I already donate to. And those are the reasons why I probably do more decant and sample reviews than actual bottles. Fiscal responsibility is everybody's own responsibility. Some people don't do well at all. They work 3 jobs just to make ends meet, and that itself is difficult. So they don't have the luxury of spending $100. So maybe they only have $10, $20 a month, and they want something that's going to last a little bit longer and just want that one fragrance, and that, you know, $20 fragrance, Jaguar, $30 fragrance. So they might save up for 3 months in order to get something like this. Financial responsibility is your own responsibility. Those are the reasons. That's the reason why that I review a lot of samples and decants. It also gets more content out there. I don't need all these bottles. I don't want all these bottles. Even if I were to come into like $5-10 million tomorrow, would I get some more bottles? I would probably get a few bottles while getting rid of a lot of bottles that I just don't use. I wouldn't have a lavish lifestyle. I've always been a hard worker, a saver, a grinder. The work ethic that my parents gave me is in me, because I saw my parents come from nothing to something. My grandparents, they were miners, both families. They came from a mining background. There was, at that time, back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, miners didn't make a whole lot of money where we were from. I understand what financial responsibility, fiscal responsibility, spending, money management is. And if people don't like the fact that I review samples and decants, then maybe this channel is not for you. Again, I'm hoping that this video really just did not come across as negative, or that I'm better than other people, because I'm not. I'm no better than the homeless guy that's on the corner. I'm not. I treat everybody the way that I wish to be treated, even though that I get treated like a piece of shit every single day at work. Trust me, I deal with a lot of negativity and a lot of ignorance, and for me, it kind of shows how bad humanity really is. But I try to smile. I try to keep my head up, even though that I have a lot of demons that want to come out. I'm a work in progress. But I also give back to humanity every single month. Do I wish I did better? Do I wish I was in a better place? Yes. But that's on me. We all have to work towards betterment. Some people are super content and comfortable living paycheck to paycheck, and they are happy with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I want something better. But when I pass away, I want to make sure that the charities that I donate to are taken care of, that my niece and nephews, they're taken care of. And if I were to pass away before my wife, I want her to be taken care of before it's time for her to come and meet her creator. So hopefully this video really shows you a different perspective. It shows you where I'm coming from. I try to put myself in other people's shoes and see where they're coming from as well. I like to listen, learn, and try to find common ground when it comes to different issues. But hopefully this video wasn't all over the place. I kind of have a bad habit of doing that. I lose my train of thought, and another thought comes into mind, and yeah, that's how it is. But hopefully this video was a little educational, that you guys got like a different perspective and maybe a new appreciation. And hopefully that this video really just did not offend and come across as negative. It's not meant to come at anybody. I'm not name calling. The people that I did name, Bottom Note and CJ City TV, I'm going to attach their links down below. They did great videos and they have great channels. So shout out to CJ City TV. I don't get, my words don't come out like he does. He's just really slick and smooth with his words. Me, I just get tongue-tied. But I'm just going to finish the video here because this video was truly long enough, and I doubt that a lot of you guys really just watched to the end. So guys, if you like this very video, please give it a big thumbs up. Share that video. Subscribe if you haven't. This video again was just meant to create a discussion, not division, not any negativity or drama, and hopefully that you guys came out with something different. Hopefully you guys learned something a little bit new about me. Alright? So guys, thank you for your time. Take care, and I'll see you later. Thanks for watching, everybody.